Hi everyone, it's me again, Kim Sarah A. Caballero, and for today's video, I'm going to share to you a new topic in relation to instructional model. There are a lot of instructional model, but I choose this model which is associated with subject matter or discipline, specifically lecture. So what are you waiting for? Let us discuss what is lecture and its advantages and disadvantages. Let's go! When we say lecture, it is the oldest method or model of teaching because as far as we could remember before, we are more on teacher-centered rather than student-centered. When we say teacher-centered, there are just few activities that could be done by a students because more activities are done by the teachers. For example, lecture method or model, for example, in a classroom situation, for the whole period of time, the teacher is the one who will just stand in front of his or her students and the one who will introduce a topic and explain, describe, or discuss what is that topic all about. So, in short, lecture is something that this teacher is the one who is the source of knowledge. And then it is more on the teacher is the one who will prepare a presentation in order to discuss a certain topic to a students. Lecture method or model is more on chalk and talk or presentation and talk, which means that a teacher will discuss or introduce a certain topic, write something on the board, and he or she also is the one who will introduce or discuss what is that topic all about. So the rule of the students here is only just a passive listener. So the teacher is the one who will control the knowledge that could be executed to his or her student. So when we say lecture method or model, it is more on teacher controlled, and the teacher is the one who will introduce a topic to the students and as well as the source of knowledge or the one who will discuss what is that topic all about. And now, let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of lecture. And first, let's discuss its advantages. So, when we use lecture as an instructional model in our classroom, it really saves time because it's quick and it's straightforward. What I'm trying to say is that lecture is very strict and straightforward because the knowledge or the execution of knowledge or the discussion came from a specific person, which is the teacher. It's not like the other instructional model that needs more time because it has a lot of things to do or it needs to have a student-centered activities. But here in lecture, it's really straightforward because the teacher is the one who will introduce the topic and then he or she will be the one also to discuss or explain what is the topic all about. And as well as also it is advantage of lecture for the students that students could practice listening because during the lecture the rule of the students is a passive listener and it is important for them to listen to what the teacher's trying to say because the source of the knowledge is only the teacher. So as a student, you need to listen in order to get what your teacher is trying to say or to understand what is that topic or discussion all about. And lecture could also benefit or it is also advantage to the cognitive of the students because the students could get a knowledge and those knowledge could be put or sink into their mind or to their cognitive part. And lecture is advantage also to the teachers because during a lecture, the teachers could identify what is the specific teaching skills that they need to apply in order to have an effective lecture, because it is very hard for the teacher to be the one who will discuss in front of the students. So during lecture, it is very advantage the teacher, because they could see what kind of teaching skills, what kind of teaching techniques that he or she should use as a teacher in order to have an effective lecturing. And also, it is advantage of lecture is that the knowledge is came from a high source, which is the teacher. What I'm trying to say, or what I mean, is that the knowledge is came from a teacher. And when we say teacher, a teacher is the one who have a high level of knowledge, and lecture is very advantage, because the teacher can share a lot of knowledge, a lot of explanation to the students. Finally, let's talk about the disadvantages of lecture. Though lecture is good because it's quick and straightforward, and surely that when you use this instructional model, surely that your time or your class will be done on time, and as well as the knowledge is all came from the teacher, which is more knowledgeable. But for me, is that lecture is more beneficial to the teacher rather than to the students, because the role of your students there is just go to your class, listen to you, look at you in front talking, while you as a teacher, you have a lot of preparations. You need to study about that certain topic, you need to look for a strategy or a skills so that your lecturing will be effective, and then your mind will be practice and enhance, because it is important as a teacher that when you go to the classroom or when you discuss a certain topic, you are ready. So for me, lecture is more beneficial to the teacher rather than to the students. As well as also, it is the disadvantages of lecture is that it can make your students feel dull or boring, because there are no engagement happen, because you as a teacher is just the one who will do the activity, talking in front of your students, while your students is just looking at you and listening to you while you were discussing. And for me, as we all know that the 21st century learner today is that they are more student-centered. When we say student-centered, the student right now is more on doing activity or getting knowledge from their own, like researching, investigating, doing a group activity, while the lecturing is you as a teacher is the only one who do the activity. So it makes your student feel boring, or it feels them to be dull, and then the lecture also doesn't foster active learning, because when you do lecturing, you're just the one who will, as a teacher, you're just the one who will discuss the topic or explain the topic, and then your student is just sitting there. So there is no other activity that could engage them or could make them active. So as you can imagine, so you as a teacher in the classroom situation, for the whole period of time you were talking there, and then your students is just sitting there listening to you, so it really felt boring. So also lecture is doesn't benefit to the psychomotor of the student, because it's more on cognitive. Because when we say psychomotor is more on enhancing the ability, enhancing the skills of the students. It needs to have an experiential activity. But here in lecture, there is no experiential activity, because the students there is just only listening to you. So that will be the disadvantages of the lecture. That will be all, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something out from this video. Keep safe and